Very good afternoon to all of you. The Honorable President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, my good friend C.A. Nihar Jambusaria ji, Honorable Vice President of the Institute, Dr. Debashish Mitra ji, the Vice Chairman of the Committee for Entrepreneurship and Public Service, and my distinguished colleague in the Apex Council of the Institute, C.A. Dr. Sanjeev Singhal ji.
Very good afternoon,
very eminent
all of you.
Speakers.
The Honorable President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, my good
CA Saurav Deshmukh ji and CA Saurav Bansal ji, who has been so kind enough to join us today to enlighten us on the various opportunities available to our members in public service. I'm sure they will be also able to impress upon us on the importance of public service and why chartered accountants can do better in civil service. And I'm extremely glad that today we have a galaxy of people in the civil service. 7 of the members in the parliament are chartered accountants. We have members in the judiciary. We have chartered accountants, friends in all the services of the Indian civil service and various regulatory bodies. Therefore, in fact, they are one of the important bridge for us to with the government, and they have always been available. Therefore, the purpose of today's webcast is to guide the members of the profession who are interested to join the civil service and how they can serve the nation better. And I'm sure you are going to have a very, very enlightening session. I don't want to take your time. May I request today's guest of honor, the Vice President of the Institute. Today, it may be by coincidence, today we have 2 doctors who are council members and 2 Saurabhs to ask the speakers. It may be a coincidence. May I request CA Dr. Debashish Mitra, Honorable Vice President of the Institute, to address the gathering.
Thank you very much, my council colleague Babu Abraham Kalivali, who is also the chairman of this committee for public service. The Honorable President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Nihar Jambusaria, the Vice Chairman of this committee, Sanjeev Singhal, my council colleague, and of course, the 2 resource persons, Saurav Bansal and Saurav Deshmukh. And a special welcome to both of you because, see, I'm sure the audience would love to hear both of you speak about the newer opportunities that we have in this area. This committee has been there for a long time. And this committee organizes, get-togethers of those members in public service. The last one we had in Udaipur. And let me tell you, when I was there along with the president, I was, so much privileged to meet our members who are holding such high positions in public service. And it gave me a lot of pride that our membership is doing so well. Today, let me tell you, the members who are in public service, they help the institute. Their love for the alma mater is immense. And whenever we have reached out to them for help or assistance, our members in public service have, without any hesitation, have helped the institute. 80%, more than 80% of our newly passed chartered accountants, they go into service. You see, maybe in government service, private service. We see in the campus that so many of them are present in the campus interviews. Now, it is very important that they also come to know about the opportunities that are there if they want to go into public service. And I'm sure that today's program will give them an insight into the opportunities that are available if they want to go for public service. With public service, you see, the institute has a natural affinity because the institute takes pride in being a partner in nation building. And I know that all of you who are in public service, to all of you, it is nation first. And to the institute also, that it is nation first and we take pride in being a partner in nation building. Once again, I thank Saurabh Desmukh and Saurabh Bansal for having come here to share their thoughts on this very important topic of career choices in public service. And I'm sure that those attending the program will find the deliberations interesting and enlightening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Vice President, for that brilliant thoughts. In fact, today we were supposed to be have the presence of Honorable C.A. Sandeep Kumar Sultaniaji from the Indian Administrative Service. Is also the Secretary to the Government of Telangana. In fact, due to some medical emergency, he was not able to attend today. Therefore, he has, in fact, we'll be missing him. He has promised us, definitely he'll be joining on the next occasion. Therefore, may I request Honorable President of the Institute, say Nihar Jambusaria ji, to inaugurate and deliver the inaugural address.
Thank you, Bahubhai. Good afternoon, everybody. Respected Vice President of the Institute, C.A. Dr. Debashish Mitra, the Chairman and Vice Chairman of this committee, C.A. Babu Abraham, C.A. Sanjeev Singhal, and today's two eminent faculties, C.A. Saurabh Desmukh, who is additional PS to the Minister of State for Finance, and C.A. Saurabh Bansal, who is Deputy Director, National Pricing Authority. Friends, at the outset, let me mention that our members are spread over so many fields and sectors. Although the Institute was started in 1949 with the object of dealing with our core area of practice, that is auditing, and later on with direct and indirect tax, time came when members started spreading their wings in different fields. And today, if we find chartered accountants in film industry, in industry as entrepreneurs, or as CFO, as CEO, and even in public service. However, in public service, still our number is not so big. And in that sense, today's webinar, which will be addressed by two eminent faculties, those who are in public service themselves, by sharing their experience of what are the opportunities available in public service, particularly those members who are young and who have flavor for public service. For them, this webinar will be absolutely useful. And if you look at the interest of profession as a whole, then also it is very much necessary that now with the economy is expanding, the way in which people enter into transactions, do business, everything changing so substantially, the role of chartered accountants in every field is being recognized by the society and the government. So at such time, the speakers will certainly highlight what are the opportunities available and how to grab them and how to enter public service. Particularly from them, whenever we have a residential meet of members in public service, every year one meet is held, and there all these members indicate and are proud to share that their success in public service is mainly attributable to their CA qualification. The rigorous training that they undergo during the articleship helped them so much in public service that this degree gives an additional advantage to all IAS, IPS and IRS officers and even those who are in Indian Foreign Service. So with this, I'm sure that today's speakers will guide the members, and today many of our members aspiring for public service are there to listen to them. I welcome both the speakers and inaugurate this webinar for their benefit. Thank you so much, Babu-bhai, for inviting me and asking me to share some of my views on public service. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable President, for that brilliant inaugural thoughts. We are extremely glad that Honorable President and Vice President is here with us. And I'm sure that today we'll have initial thoughts from the speakers, and we would love to make this as a more of an interactive session. Therefore, we have received some of the questions, but I would request the members who are watching us kindly send in your questions to the extent possible. We will try to take your questions. And now, may I request the Vice Chairman of the committee, Dr. Sanjeev Singhal-ji, to have his remarks and take the sessions forward.
Thank you, Babu Bhai. A very good evening to you all, friends. The Honorable President of the Institute, the Supreme Torchbearer of our beloved profession, C.A. Nihar Jambusaria ji, the Honorable Vice President of the Institute, and as Babu Bhai said, one of the two doctors present in the council, C.A. Dr. Devashish Mitra, C.A. Babu Bhai, as we call him through love and affection, we call him Babu Bhai, though he's Babu Ibrahim, my chairman in the committee, and two of the esteemed speakers, C.A. Saurabh Bansal and C.A. Saurabh Deshmukh. And I'm really thankful to Saurabh, to both the Saurabh, of course, but also Saurabh Bansal, who invited our attention to an emerging opportunity, which is up for grab immediately by the chartered accountants. So thanks, Saurabh, for that. Let me begin with a brief introduction of both the speakers, and I'm also happy to share that as of now, 660 members are watching the program live. So that shows the interest on a Sunday evening. Also, 660 members are live, and we have received a number of questions. So let me start with C.A. Saurabh Deshmukh. C.A. Saurabh Deshmukh is additional PS to the Minister of State Finance. He has worked as Director License Fee Assessment with Department of Telecom, Ministry of Communication, New Delhi. His responsibility include assessing the license fee share of government as a part of the revenue sharing agreement with the telecom service provider, which was so important. He has been the Deputy Financial Advisor for the CRPF for the North region. So look at the diversity, look at the diverse profile which our members handle. And of course, apart from being a chartered accountant, he's a commerce graduate, he's a MA Economics, he's a diploma in public financial management, and he's a rank holder in our CA exam. He's a 12,011 batch chartered accountant, and is a founder member secretary of Integrated Hearts and Mind NGO working for education of children from Kashmir. Under this project, currently 18 children from Valley are studying in Ahmednagar. So thank you, Saurabh Deshmukh, for joining the program. And now let me come to C.A. Saurabh Bansal. C.A. Saurabh Bansal currently is the Deputy Director, National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, and is holding a very important portfolio as of now, because as the country is grappling with COVID-19, he is the man who is ensuring that enough stock of medicines is there in the country, and these are available at the regulated prices. He is ensuring what is the planning 2 weeks ahead, 4 weeks ahead, what could be the likely number of cases, and as a country, how do we deal with that? So he's doing a human service. He was earlier in the SFIO, again, very, very prestigious posting. He was there as a deputy director. He joined the Indian Cost Account Service in 2014 and started as assistant director at the Cost Audit Branch, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. He was later posted as the CFO of the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, Manesar, between 2017 to 2019. And he was the second youngest person ever to join the Indian Cost Accounting Services. He became a chartered accountant at the age of 20 in the first attempt, and probably had to wait for 1 year for actually, obtaining the membership, because the membership is given at the age of 21. Such a young and brilliant chartered accountant. And of course, he qualified in 2011. So there is another analogy. Both our speakers are 2011 batch chartered accountant, and he has scored 91 marks in advanced accounting. Great achievement, Saurabh. So Saurabh, thank you. Both the Saurabh, thank you for joining. And I'll have to take full name, or I have to say CA Bansal or CA Deshmukh. Otherwise, there could be some confusion. So Saurabh Bansal, let me first of all thank you for being here. And before I ask my first question, in your opening remarks, if you would like to say something, please go ahead. The screen is all yours. We used to say stage is all yours, so here screen is all yours. Over to you, Saurabh Bansal.
First of all, sir, thank you so much. I am so glad that such huge numbers of chartered accountant have joined this session, and I am so thankful to CA Babu sir and Nihar Jambusaria sir that at my suggestion they instantly worked out a plan, and at such a short notice they organized a program and which will benefit the entire CA fraternity, because those who join public service, so they kind of become public asset in a sense, and they are useful to everyone. So the main purpose which I feel for organizing this session is that I am from Indian Cost Account Service, and in Cost Account Service, it is not not many people are aware about the Indian Cost Account Service, and it is a very good opportunity. And incidentally, there are a number of vacancies are there in my service, and UPSC has also recently advertised vacancies in my service, for which the last date is nearing. So that is why it was important that we conduct such a session at least 1 week before the last date. So I'm so much thankful to Babu sir and Sanjeev Singhal sir for organizing the event at such a short notice. And I have prepared a brief PPT about what my thoughts are on this entire thing. So with the permission, I'll start sharing the PPT.
So Saurabh, let me get the opening comments from Saurabh Deshmukh also, and then you can share your PPT. Sure. And of course, we have also received some questions from the members, so we could make it either way, a PPT plus questions or only questions. So most welcome. So Saurabh Deshmukh, can I request you, Saurabh, to come live on the screen? So thank you, Saurabh, for joining, and would request you to share some of your opening thoughts on being a public servant and also being a chartered accountant.
Good afternoon to all. Here in Delhi, there is a chilled and cold weather, and sorry for my voice because I'm not really well. Honorable President of Chartered Accountants of India, Sri Nihar Jambusaria, sir, the Honorable Vice President Debashish Mitra, sir, the Chairman of the Committee Babu Kalyavalli, sir, and the Vice Chairman of the Committee Sanjeev Singhal, sir, and my very near dear friend and colleague in the Chartered Accountants as well as Services, and the name resemblance, Saurabh Bansal. Thank you for calling me here. It's really a pleasure to speak to the young chartered accountants and to go back to the alma mater and to guide your young brothers and sisters so that they also dream to become like you. You become like their role model. When we started the civil service preparation, I guess there were very few, a decade back almost now. So it was a very strange कि commerce and accountancy लेकर कोई तैयारी कर रहा है for the civil services. Material was not available. There were not many guidances available. We had to find somebody कि कौन मिलेगा who is a CA as well as a public service. And there was no such platform in the institute also available. But I am thankful the institute in last 5-10 years and especially in the tenure of Babu sir, has come up with such interactive programs wherein we interact with the young chartered accountants and they motivate them so that our numbers in the service increases. I would just, for that, I would like to share some data. For example, if there are, every year there are around 800 to 900 vacancies of the civil services, hardly 2 or 3 or maximum 5 of them are chartered accountants, or the maximum less than 10. Whereas the engineers constitute around 62% of the total civil services that are being chosen. Doctors are about 15% of the total civil services, whereas we hardly represent 2%, 1 to 2% of the civil services. So this number has also increased in the last few years. Previously, that was a very minuscule ekka dukka hota tha. Okay, but let me come to the today's aaj ka the 23rd January. It's a birthday of the 125th anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose का एक बहुत famous event है in his life in the 1922 only, a sanitary year for that also. He resigned from the then empirical civil services to work for the nation, to work for the people. Okay. Then we were under the Britishers, then we were under the oppression of the British foreign rule. And people had to resign, and civil services was the main epitome or the main instrument of the oppression that was being carried out by the Britishers over India. So Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose could not witness that, and he had to resign so as to work for the people. But today, after the century, after we adopted from imperial civil services to Indian civil services, now civil services are becoming the face of the government, the face of the work that is done for the people, the face of the humanitarian, the face of the socio-economic welfare measures taken by the and face as well as the instrument of delivering these services to the last mile, to the every single person on the ladder. That is where the where we can become the instrument of change in the society. So we will come how one can go into the civil services, how CA can become a good civil servant, how being a CA can help one in the civil services while delivering their duties. That we will do it in the course of seminar. With this, I would like to request the moderator of the session to make it more interactive, to take the questions from the audience, because civil service preparation is unique to everybody. Everybody will face their own challenges, because it's 10 lakh people who apply and only 800 who make into the list. So it is it cannot have a approach that is everybody will have to have the tailor-made approach for it. So everybody will have the tailor-made problems. All the around 1,000 people who are watching it are dreaming to become the civil service servants. So everybody will have some problem which they may not be able to share in person. That is why they have joined here. So I would request to have more and more questions coming from them. We will try to answer as much as we can. If not, we will always be available in the backseat for the young members who are preparing for the civil services. So let me hand over to the, as Mr. Bansal had said, Saurabh Bansal has said, this is the latest opportunity in the cost account service. And I have seen it's a very powerful service. I have been with Mr. Bansal for a couple of, now we are friends almost for half a decade. So it's a very powerful service and it's a very good immediate opportunity for the chartered accountant. So let's focus more on that cost accountant service also for this, and let us make it more interactive and successful one. Even if we are able to motivate a single person from this and he gets into the services, that would be the success of the program for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saurabh. The commentary between the chartered accountant is very essential, and if they join the public services, I am sure our profession will grow from strength to strength. So while there are a very large number of questions that we have received, but since this is an impending opportunity, which is an immediate opportunity in the Indian cost accounting services, so I would request Saurabh, you can share your presentation, and maybe it will take 15-20 minutes for the presentation. Yeah. So I'll just see whether you have the rights to share. I would request office to make both the speakers and me as the host. Okay. Right, Saurabh, please go ahead.
So I hope the PPT is visible, sir.
Yes, visible. Please go ahead.
So I'll start. So first of all, I would like to tell briefly about what is Indian Cost Account Service. So people generally have heard about IAS, Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service. At max, they have heard about Indian Revenue Service, which handles the income tax and the GST and customs. But there are more than 20 services in the government of India, and each of them looking after various profiles that are given to them. Like we have Indian Forest Services, we have to look after the forests, we have Indian Foreign Service, we have got Indian Corporate Law Service, which looks after the Companies Act, and so on and so forth. So there is one Indian Cost Account Service, and this is a specialist service. Specialist as in the general civil services exam. So you just need to be a graduate to be eligible for the exam. But to be eligible to sit for the Indian Cost Account Service exam, you have to either be a chartered accountant or be a cost accountant. So this is a service specially meant for chartered accountants and cost accountants. So I briefly tell about the service profile. So it is an organized Group A Central Civil Service. So which is equivalent to any of the services that you might have heard of, like Indian Revenue Services or others. And the work profile of the officers is mainly related to, the work profile as in the primary role is mainly costing and pricing and valuation of various things. But that is not the only job. So we deal with various public policy issues, like when I was with the Department of Expenditure recently. So I was looking after, the review of all the central sector schemes, wherein government was spending more than 500 crore rupees. So we were reviewing that, and we also go in various executive roles, like the one I am currently in. So I am enforcing the Essential Commodities Act as far as drugs are related. So we ensure that no one is selling drugs, as in medicines, at a price higher than what is allowed. So we are in various executive role also, and we are in advisory roles also, where we do costing and pricing, and we do various financial analysis on the basis of which government can take a decision. And the posts that our service has, so it is distributed in various ministries. So it is a very, you can say, happening service in that sense that every 4 years the role is entirely changed. So in my news, and then I got into corporate. I was looking after corporate frauds when I was with SFIO, Serious Fraud Investigation Office. And now currently I am with Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, and I am currently looking after drug pricing and enforcing the Essential Commodities Act in that regard. So the role has entirely changed, and the rank and pay of the service is equivalent to that, of any organized group, as I mentioned. So be it IAS, IPS, or IRS. So it is equivalent to that. And the location of the post, so most of the 70 to 80% of the posts are in Delhi, and the remaining 20% of the posts are in various states. GST, the main posts which are outside Delhi, they pertain to the GST. So I'll explain that in the further flights. And currently we have around 230 posts in the service, out of which 110 are lying vacant and which are going to be filled very soon. So besides the opportunity that we have in hand right now, we'll have more and more opportunities in near future. And these are the ranks that I have mentioned, that at the entry level, one will become assistant director in this service, and will, upon promotions, one can go up to the level of chief advisor cost. Obviously, if one joins the service at the right age, one will become chief advisor cost, and which will be equivalent to chief secretary in a state or secretary in the government of India. And the promotion avenues and the career path, so everything is good and at par with various other services. And about the postings, so we have got there's one, the entire service is under the office of chief advisor cost. So like we have chief economic advisor that you might have read in the newspapers, there's one office of chief advisor cost which looks after this Indian cost account service, and chief advisor cost is the head of this service. So there's that office which gives advisory services to all the ministries and departments of government of India. So they conduct various studies and share their thoughts with the government, on the basis of which various policy decisions are taken. Then we have got posts in Department of Expenditure under the Ministry of Finance, where all the financial approvals of all the expenditure being incurred by the government are taken. We have got a number of posts in GST. So in the field, we have got posts in GST audit commissionerates in almost all the states. So one can be AD, assistant director or deputy director in various GST audit commissionerates. Then we have got posts in Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Public Enterprise, Department of Investment in Public Asset Management. We have got posts in the opium factory also. So if someone might have seen that movie Udta Punjab, so that was more or less based on an opium factory. Opium factories are mainly run by government of India only, so that is exclusive. Then we have got posts in Ministry of Commerce, which is that Director General of Trade Remedies, which imposes anti-dumping duties on if any dumping is there on goods coming from outside India. If on any imports there is any dumping, so they'll impose an anti-dumping duty. Then we have got post in the Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer in both pharma as well as fertilizers. So in fertilizers, there's a huge subsidy burden. So our service people are there also. We have got post in Ministry of Corporate Affairs in the Serious Fraud Investigation Office, as well as the cost audit branch of the ministry. So cost audit branch looks after the provisions of maintenance of cost records and cost audit under the Companies Act. Then we've got post in Ministry of Defense. So our service officers are part of the Indian negotiating team whenever there is a defense purchase by the government of India. Then we've got posts in the Ministry of Food, Ministry of Agriculture, and we have got posts in housing, home affairs, health, you name it. We have posts in almost a number of important ministries, and we play a key role there. Now, my first thing that I wanted to focus on was to create, a kind of desire in our young chartered accountants to enter into this service. So they should know what this service was about. So if anyone has got any doubt, I would request Sanjeev Singhal sir that, he can check up all the doubts once I finish the PPT. So then there's, I would like to tell everyone, if one makes up the mind that, okay, I want to enter this service, then what is the process? So the basic eligibility criteria for the service is that one should be a chartered accountant or a cost accountant, and there is some desirable experience. So currently there is an advertisement number 1 of 2022 by UPSC, which is there on the UPSC's website. One can go through it. The vacancy number 2 is related to the assistant director cost. So as per that vacancy, the essential is CA or CW. The desirable part is that one should have 3 years of experience, but that is not mandatory. Then you have to file the form, and as per the advertisement, UPSC will shortlist the candidates, and UPSC will call candidates for interview. But generally, the trend has been for the last 4 or 5 recruitments, UPSC generally conduct a recruitment test, and in that test mainly questions would be there from costing, finance, some statutory provisions would be there. So mainly a technical question paper would be there. You have to clear that, and after that UPSC members will take your interview, and the entire process takes about 12 to 18 months. So you have to be prepared. Generally, also if you want to enter into civil services, the main civil service exam. So there also the process is about 12 months to 15 months, and the pass percentage is good. The pass percentage is 1 to 2% of the candidates. So generally, if there are generally on an average around 800 to 900 people apply for this post. But as I can see this time, the awareness is more, so maybe more number of people would apply. But one has to see that all of the candidates who are applying, so they are chartered accountants or cost accountants. So obviously the competition would be good. So it is not that they are competing with anyone. They are competing with those who have already been tested and certified by the 2 institutes to be good. And I'll little about the scheme of the recruitment test. So the scheme of the recruitment test may keep on changing. Earlier there were 100 questions, then in the next time there were 120 questions. So but the pass percentage is very high. The pass percentage is somewhere around 70 to 75%. After considering the negative marking, there is 1/3 negative marking. But all this recruitment test and the scheme of recruitment test, I'm telling you, this is on the basis of the past trend. So UPSC may change anything, and that would be clear from whatever notifications are coming. So currently we have this much information, and I think for the past 7 to 8 years, so this has remained the same. The pass percentage is around 70 to 75%. The recruitment test currently, as per the latest guidelines, the recruitment test hold 75% of the weightage, and 25% of the weightage is given to the interview marks. So that is how the final list is prepared. So in case you can observe yourself that this recruitment test holds a very high weightage, and it is an objective multiple choice question based exam wherein you will get around 120 minutes to complete around 100 to 120 questions, and a negative marking would also be there. So I'll briefly tell about the kind of topics that are covered. Obviously, the topics would be given by the UPSC, and this may change, but till now it has almost remained the same. They'll briefly ask about the cost records and audit rules under the Companies Act, and under the Companies Act, then we have got cost accounting standards, then CVP and RSAs, pricing decision, budgetary concepts, and costing methods, marginal costing. So these are, everything we have mentioned here has been covered in our costing exam in the CA finals, and there's nothing new. It is just that you have to answer everything in a multiple choice question based exam in 120 minutes, and it is a competitive exam, so you have to be in the top 1% to qualify. So basically, if you see, the question paper is divided into 3 parts. One is the statutory provisions of the Companies Act and the cost accounting standards. Second is the arithmetic questions related to pricing, marginal costing, standard costing, and things like that. And the third part is the costing terminology related to ERP, project management, or anything. So you have to be clear on the costing terminology. And if you qualify, so generally 3 times the number of posts. So if there are 16, number of posts are 16, so around 48 persons would be called for interview. And the chairman of there's a panel of members. So there'll be around 5, interview board members. And the chairman of the board would be a member of the UPSC, that is Union Public Service Commission. So the 4 members would mainly ask you technical questions and job related questions, and UPSC member may ask you some general questions also, like why there are so much NPA that is non-performing asset in the banking sector, or why is the the current stock, the current Sensex and the Nifty are so high as compared to what was there before the COVID. So general questions may also be asked. The time would be around 20 to 40 minutes, and weightage, as I've already mentioned, the last weightage was 25% only. And the general do's and don'ts in interview you can get anywhere, so that is not a big deal. There's nothing specific, just that you have to be a bit courteous. So that's all from my side. That is the brief thing that I had prepared.
So thank you so much, Saurabh. I'll come to
cover everything. So if I have left anything, sir, or
no, absolutely. So we have received a few questions, but let me talk follow-up questions later. Let me first take up some question for our friend Saurabh Deshmukh. Saurabh Deshmukh, Saurabh, I'd like to ask you that CA is already a difficult course, no doubt about it. It's probably one of the most difficult course. People get exhausted in the CPT or the intermediate or the final stages. What made you think that CAs can make good civil servants, and how much of being a chartered accountant it helps you while you are doing CA in clearing your main exams and clearing the preliminary exams? So can you elaborate how lucrative or how is this civil service for the budding chartered accountant or for the chartered accountants?
Thank you, sir, for your question. The first and foremost, that's true, very true. CA itself is an exhaustive course, and but once we come up from the CA and when we start looking at the civil services, ये लगता है कि और एक मतलब once you have climbed one peak, you have to success another peak. But then, believe me, the life after qualifying CA and civil services is really very good, both professionally as well as personally. How I will explain. Professionally, I'll explain कि when one qualifies as a civil servant, a tag gets attached to it कि he is from so and so services, he is from so and so civil services. It itself is a lot of prestigious thing, because I'll tell you, the number of students who apply for the civil services is around 10 lakhs. Those who qualify for the pre, then it is around those who qualify preliminary examination is around 15,000. Those who qualify mains, that is the main examination, the written examination, is around 2,000. And those who are interviewed, that means they are interviewed, around 2,000 people are interviewed, and around 800, 900, depending on the vacancies every year, they get selected for the particular services, and then they are attributed services as per their choice, as per their ranking in the civil services, and then there is a permanent tagging attached to that person. I was ranked so and so in civil services, so and so exam, and then I am allocated so and so service, and he will be always डेजिग्नेटेड विद नाम से ज्यादा उसके आगे उसकी अपनी सर्विस, उसका अपना डेजिग्नेशन बहुत सारा लगा रहता है. और उसके पहले, बट बिफोर दैट ही गेट्स माय, इफ आई कैन शो यू माय विजिटिंग कार्ड, सबसे पहले आता है सीए, देन नेम, एंड देन ऑल माय डिग्री एंड द सर्विस डेजिग्नेशंस. सो that will I tell you ki CA has immensely helped. That indicates that CA has immensely helped me to become the civil servant. But civil services के साथ एक tag attached है, एक social prestige attached है. CA के साथ भी है, and CA social prestige and civil service social prestige, it's a deadly combination. When in civil services also, I go and meet seniors, I go and meet various mentors in civil services. They ask me, what is your basic degree? When we were probationers, I like to narrate an incident. We were probationers going for Bharat Darshan. 20 was our batch size. उसमें से 16 लोग बोलते थे हम सब इंजीनियर्स हैं, बीटेक है. 2 बोलते थे हम एमए ग्रेजुएट हिस्ट्री है, 1 डॉक्टर एंड 1 चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट. Okay. So that makes you stand very uniquely outside the crowd. And then everywhere, every person, every serving officer will have certain financial duties to be fulfilled. For example, sorry for this, every, maybe any scheme is being implemented. For example, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan scheme is implemented, or midday meal scheme is implemented. We can say ki there can be no scheme which will not have any financial impact or financial angle or financial assessment. So everybody is very curious. So you are CA, तो ये जरा बताओ. You are a chartered accountant, you know finance, तो इतना income tax वाला doubt solve कर दो. Sorry. So that is where it makes you stand uniquely, differently from others. Personally also, civil services में आने के बाद you get a good office, you get a good vehicle, you get a good house. Matrimonial prospects में भी थोड़े prospects अच्छे रहते हैं. Okay. So even your career progression happens, and it is said कि सरकारी बनने की power बढ़ती जाती है. Okay, from once he is on field, he implements the agency's orders given by his seniors from the offices. Policy making में आ जाते हैं, तो he makes the policies, he can change the policy. He can make an impact which can reach up to thousands of people, lakhs of people, crores of people, and they can benefit. For example, जैसे हमारे बंसल साहब है, आज he is deciding the pricing, drug pricing policy. COVID है, कितना कौन सा दवाई which medicine has to be in the economical, लोगों के पॉकेट को कम से कम without hampering the pockets of the people, medicine लोगों के घर में आ सके, and people can survive in this pandemic, is decided by him. So this is what the power is. अब I am currently working as the private secretary to MOS Finance. We handle banking, insurance. अब कई cases insurance के आते हैं कि COVID में the person has died, या उनकी policy नहीं मिल रही है. There is some lapse in small lapses where we can help up that poor family to gain his insurance. कईयों को तो हमने वो प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना से पैसे दिलवाए. Very poor families like maid, housekeeper, servant. तो इन लोगों के life से लेके till the rich man, जैसे बड़े बड़े corporate houses है where you can get repo rate से loan का interest rate change हो जाता है 0.5%, 1% basis point से. The whole gamut of the industry itself changes. जैसे we were very much involved in ECGLS scheme, emergency credit guarantee line scheme, wherein we could promote certain sectors. So completely the sector changed, completely the businessmen were very happy. So बिल्कुल ground level से लेके you can make an impact to the richest of the rich, or a businessman, which will help to generate the employment, which would help to generate the money for the people. So this is a very good opportunity, क्योंकि CS का एक side बहुत फिक्स होता है कि उनको पढ़ाई की आदत होती है, पहली चीज. दूसरी चीज, दे हैव लॉट ऑफ गुड नॉलेज अबाउट द फाइनेंस. तीसरी चीज कि दे आर वेरी सिंसियर इन डूइंग देयर जॉब्स. एक तो एथिक्स है, जो इतने सारी एथिक्स पहले ही पढ़ाए जाते हैं ड्यूरिंग दी सीए फाइनल एग्जाम, कि वो कोई और काम करने से पहले ही डरता है. ओके. और उसके साथ साथ व्हेन वी हैव स्टार्टेड विद दिस इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी, तो IT enabled with finance with ethics is a very good combination for a civil servant, and the country needs more and more chartered accountants as a civil servant. और आई वुड लाइक एक सजेशन दूंगा आईसीआई को कि दिस इज एन आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव. इट्स 75 years of the independence and everything is taken in the country and now in the multiples of 75. तो हम लोग भी इस साल एक करते हैं कि वी शुड हैव 75 ऑफिसर्स फ्रॉम सीए बैकग्राउंड इन द कमिंग लिस्ट ऑफ द सिविल सर्विसेज. इसके लिए हम लोग कुछ एक प्रयास, एक डेडिकेटेड मिशन मोड, मे बी ए कमिटी ऑफ पब्लिक सर्विसेज में टेक अप दिस मैटर and prepare a batch of people where we can have 75 officers from the CA background dedicatedly in the civil services list.
Oh, thank you so much, Saurabh. And as far as the ICI is concerned, whatever is required to ensure that at least 75 of our members, or in multiples of 75 this year, go to the civil services, we'll be very happy. ये जो 2% है ना number, इसको बढ़ाना है. I mean, honestly, if you say only 2% are chartered accountant in civil services, we must increase it, and it will really help our profession. I can see in your background also, I mean, how passionate chartered accountant you are. You say surround yourself with assets and not liabilities.
That's my wife's office I am sitting in.
Okay, great. So just to give you a short break, because I know you're not well, so maybe let me ask some questions to Saurabh Bansal, which are a follow-up question, and then I'll come back to you, Saurabh. Saurabh, in fact, now there are more than 800 members who have joined live. So Rekha Sharma has asked this question: is there any age limit for this Indian cost accounting services?
Yes, sir. The maximum age is 35.
Maximum age 35. Okay. Karan Chopra from Amritsar has asked a question, sir. How much time it generally takes to reach up in the ladder, the cost accounting?
So when you join, you are already up in the service. So assistant director or level 10 is a very high level in the government, and assistant director is equivalent to almost a deputy superintendent of police in the state, or SDM of your district. So that is already high, and you will keep on growing every 4 years.
Very good. And then Pratiksha from Pune is asking, can a CA final student apply for this service?
No, you have to be you have to qualify.
Yeah, you mentioned chartered accountant as well as. But do you need to be a member of ICA? Suppose when you
membership is not compulsory, sir. Earlier membership was compulsory. Now this rule has changed. Now they're asking that you should be eligible to be a member. But I would encourage.
No, again question. So like you became a CA at the age of 20, but you were not eligible to be a member at least for a year till the time you turn 21. So what will be the situation?
So I don't think, sir, I would be eligible, because it says that I should be qualified to become a member.
Okay, great. Now there is one more question. Sakshi Sachdeva is asked from Allahabad. She says that she came across that the salary for the highest position in Indian cost account service is limited to 250,000 per month. Is it correct?
So that is that is equivalent to the salary of a finance secretary or home secretary or health secretary. So when you enter into civil service, you do not enter for salary. You enter for the power that you get and the exposure, the kind of exposure and power you get. Sir, संजीव जी, हम अक्सर हम बात करते हैं कि अरे यार देश को इस दिशा में जाना चाहिए, हमको ये करना चाहिए. So you get that power to implement things. जो आप सोचते हैं वो कर पाए, ये जीवन में अक्सर ही होता है. तो the kind of these services allow you that kind of thing that आप अपनी सोच को implement कर पाओ.
No, no,
If
absolutely.
I may intervene,
Yeah,
if I
sure.
may intervene
Absolutely,
regarding
Saurabh.
the
And
salary is a
may
very
get
touchy issue.
yeah.
Every government takes good care of their civil servants, first
Absolutely.
of all. Second, every 10 years there is a good pay revision. And the salary that they are talking it is the basic salary. That's the highest salary, 2,25,000 is the basic salary. Then there are various perks. Then there are allowances. जैसे आपका house rent allowance मिलता है. If you don't take the government accommodation, believe me, there are very good accommodations available. Then if you don't take the government car, then they give you a traveling allowance. Then there is also a dearness allowance to fulfill the rising prices, inflation in the country. So the basic, and then there is allowance. So salary, it's a moderate salary. No doubt they don't get the packages like the corporates get. But then the work, the profile that you get, uh, that's incomparable, which will satisfy you personally, professionally.
I'm so happy to share this passionate answer from both of you. And as the word is also public service, I think what else do we need? And we, just like our soldiers, you are soldiers on the ground in the government offices. I mean, if the soldiers and the people in public service also start thinking only about salary, so then जो सौरभ ने बात की ना कि देश को किस दिशा में ले जाना है, तो आप लोग हैं जो देश को दिशा देते हैं. So that's a very noble and a very fine answer. So now, in fact, there are a large number of questions. Saurabh Bansal, one more question for you. Sanjay Agarwal has asked this question. What are the areas for CAs who are 40 plus? I mean, in public service, can they go or it's closed?
Sir, it is almost closed, but recently government has also started taking people, on lateral entry basis at senior levels. So at joint secretary level, deputy secretary level, so UPSC is advertising, and the age in those cases is relaxed. So, people of but it is not just that it is age relaxation. So for deputy secretary and joint secretary, you have to have that kind of stature, and you should have, that much professional experience with you. So and then the government will take no issues.
Yeah.
In fact, this is a very good opportunity that has come up. The people who have missed the bus of civil services or those entry level examinations, where they can really become good policy makers. Government, this is a very good initiative taken by the government to understand the perspective from the other side also. People who have worked in the private sector and have a different perspective towards life after 15 years can come to the government, work on contract basis for 5 years, and then again go back to their own place where they were working. This is in fact a good opportunity. In fact, we have latest we had around 25 officers, and they were very specialized posts taken. Just say, for example, director capital markets is coming from the outside. Director insurance is from outside. These are specifically advertised posts. The people are coming from the industry, relevant industry, and having a relevant background. In fact, I would like the ICM may take up with some senior members also, so that our people are also there who have the relevant experience of the industry, are also joining these public services and that lateral entry. And lateral entry, they come and work as a director or a joint secretary, which are very meaningful posts. Director is in fact the whole and the person who acts, who is the proper executive of the ministry, and joint secretary is the one from where the policy making starts. So they are very crucial key role positions that they are coming in and work for a certain number of years without leaving their own profession and go back.
No, that's very useful. Saurabh Deshmukh, if I had to ask you a follow-up question. I mean, when it's a question of civil services, people generally say IAS, IPS, IRS, or the IFS. But I believe that there are a very large number of civil services where the PS recruitment is done same. So can you just give a brief idea about those services and what is the scope for chartered accountants?
Yes. When we come up to the civil services, just said there are certain types of services which are general services and which are certain of them are specialist services. Saurabh Bansal has already given us the idea. Cost account services is a very specialized service wherein a person has to be a chartered accountant or a cost accountant. Wherein I have been always taking up with the institute also, certain services are also specialized services, but they have been wrongly categorized as the generalist services, and they should be also taken up. At least they should have a mandatory commerce background people. For example, accounts and finance service. UPSC in their civil services, which is a general service list, are conducting for 24 services every year almost, out of which 14 services are related to the finance and accounts. Let it be your revenue, both revenue services, direct and indirect revenue services, trade service, civil accounts, defense accounts, railway accounts, P&T accounts and finance, trade service. All these services are specialized accounts and finance service. Believe me, I'm not criticizing anyone, but all my batchmates, some of them like engineers, जब पहले दिन शुरू होता था कि this is debit, this is credit, this is what government comes in. But these all were like इसमें कैसे पढ़ना है? They are now engineers, they have all done, and again they come back to the basics of debit, what comes in, and credit, what goes out. So that is the fundamental we need to have. We need to have it in the service. When I am a chartered accountant, I was very keenly posted in the ministries which required specialized knowledge of finance. Other than my batchmates, which required, my previous posting to this was director license fee assessment. As a director license fee assessment, I was handling the AGR case, adjusted gross revenue case, which was coming on the front pages of newspaper almost for a year and a half. And I, since being a chartered accountant, having the finance background, was entrusted with the responsibility to brief Solicitor General to explain him the case, the whole case, AGR case, to explain him how, because it was basically those who are not aware what the AGR case was. It's an adjusted gross revenue case, completely accounting related case, wherein the accounting jugglery done by the telecom companies for not showing the revenues and not sharing the revenue share with the government. Okay, the revenue share was almost around 1 rupees. So the implication of that was huge. And when in April 2020, the result had come in March 2020, and April 2020, when everything was locked down, government had severe financial crisis. We could collect 30,000 crores for the government, which was used by the government to provide this Atmanirbhar Bharat package to the industries and to the needy, poor, and that saved a lot of lives and employment. So, because of the having a finance background, you are entrusted with various responsibilities which require a lot of finance knowledge. Even my current assignment, I am a private secretary to the Minister of State for Finance, additional private secretary. And we work on the banking, insurance, Department of Public Asset Management, Department of Public Enterprises. So all these departments which are under the Ministry of Finance, which is the helm of the finance related aspects, we are working on it. So I was chosen only because I was a chartered accountant.
This is really great. So, Bansal, moving on to you, Mohit Rohtak has a question. Is there any specific quota for the people with special abilities in the public sector as a chartered accountant?
Yes, obviously. So all the reservation that is there, as per the reservation norm, so all reservation quota is there in the service. So that is for whether that is for specially able people and be it for OBC, SC, ST. So everything is there.
Okay. Weber from Ankleshwar has a question. Is there any post in any government department where directly chartered accountants can apply, and second question, where only chartered accountants can apply?
So first is where directly chartered accountant can apply. So I have made a presentation also. So this is my service. This is the only service in Government of India where only chartered accountant and cost accountants are eligible, and you get to enter at a considerably high level in the government, and with the assurance that you will reach till the highest level if you enter at the right age. So if one enter at the age of around 24, 25, so maybe he'll be equivalent to secretary at the time of his retirement, and which is the highest level one can achieve.
We have always been asking ICI थोड़ा सा representations कीजिए कि this accounts and finance services should be having at least an element of commerce while they're in their selection, though they are a general services. For my always thing was कि when an engineer can enter into accounts and can learn accountancy or learn finance, why can't we at a considerable level, why can't it be made to the commerce graduates at least, or having a commerce paper for them? So institute can take up for this.
Sure. No, that's a good suggestion. Saurabh Deshmukh, CA Jay Vitlani from Surat is asking a question. Is there any exemption in any subject in any of the civil services courses which is given to chartered accountants?
No, there is no exemption. They have to qualify pre-mains interview, and the irony of the examination is if one reaches the interview stage and fails, then he again has to go back to pre-mains and interview. He has no dispensation even if he has cleared the. There are the one more thing is, jitna glamour hai, there is also a dark side attached to it. Let me also clear it to our members. There is also a dark side attached to it, because one starts the preparation at the age of 22, 23. Then there are 6 attempts for general category, almost 10 attempts for the 7 attempts for the OBC, and 8 to 10 attempts for the SC, ST. So a person gives the age of youth completely dedicatedly for such an exam where pass percentage is not even 1%. The selection, the probability of getting selected is 1,000 out of 10 lakhs. Okay, so one should take a calculated call. Should dedicate, but that doesn't mean that this is an impossible exam. When I could qualify, Mr. Bansal could qualify, so anybody can, any reasonably good chartered accountant can qualify. It requires patience, perseverance, dedication, as well as hard work and a bit of luck. So one should take a calculated call. If they have to enter at the right age, and enter के साथ साथ exit is also important. नहीं हो रहा है तो go into something else. It's नहीं तो trying till age of 32 and somebody gets frustrated having nothing left in it because there is no consolation prize. Okay, there is no certificate also. You tried 5 years for UPSC and then you have got the दुनिया भर का ज्ञान. You will get a दुनिया भर का ज्ञान. Don't know nothing about it. If somebody asks an UPSC student to किसी पत्थर पे भी बोलना तो he will start. It is an igneous rock, or it's a metamorphic rock, it's a sandstone. ये यहाँ से आया है, इसका ये origin है. But there is no formal certificate attached to it. So one should have a proper entry as well as a proper exit and a plan B. And one more thing, why CAs are very much suited, because CA के लिए plan B itself is a good plan. Okay. हुए तो civil servant हो गए, नहीं हुआ तो भी you are a chartered accountant, you can have a decent earning, decent learning and decent life.
Wow, great. Saurabh Bansal, Vaibhav has a follow-up question. Vaibhav from Ankleshwar, that he has applied for the cost accountant vacancy, which you said. Any tips how he should prepare, from where he should prepare, reference material, coaching classes, etc.?
So, sir, on Facebook, there's a group, which is administered by some of my service colleagues. wherein they guide all the members as to how to prepare, and all the past question papers and various past UPSC notifications are available on that group. And the best method to prepare for this exam is to refer to the past question papers and just decode it as to how many questions are being asked from which topic, and how will I cover those topics. So we have to sorry reverse engineering we have to do to clear this exam, because the question paper might seem easy to you, but you have to accept that there'll be 100 persons who will be vying. 100 chartered accountants would be there for that one post, and you have to be faster, you have to be more accurate and more fast than the other 99. So the best way is to decode the question paper and do reverse engineering.
One more addition to this is one needs to understand the difference, basic difference between the CA or any graduation exam and the civil services or a competitive exam. This is a competitive exam. Competitive exam, you never know what others are performing. CA में you know कि मेरे 50 number आ गए, then I am going to become a chartered accountant. I am going to pass, irrespective what XYZ other people write in their exam. Wherein the competitive exams, there is select number of vacancies are being given beforehand. And if you stand in those, like for example, there are 20 vacancies. So if a person stands in top 20, then only he is eligible, whether he gets X number of marks or he does not get any number of marks. He is in the top 20, he qualifies. So one has to be better than others also in this. Okay. So they have to give their best. मतलब one cannot wait कि बस यहाँ तक हो गया खत्म हो गया. I have solved 60 questions. I am confident about 50 questions, and I can stop my paper now. So one has to give their best, because if they don't come, because there would be a cutoff. If they don't qualify with that cutoff, they will fail, irrespective if they get even 80% marks.
No, that's interesting. So Saurabh Deshmukh, there's a question from Ruchika Jain from Ranchi. She says she has qualified very recently and started working in a large Indian corporate in the last 2 months. Her question is it possible to crack civil services along with a full-time job, like a private sector job?
See, it depends on how your preparation goes on. But my suggestion would be 1 year, one should give a dedicated try. 1 year, they can leave everything. If the economical conditions or the state conditions permit, one should give a full dedicated effort. Because again, I'm saying this is a civil service exam, is everybody is trying, or almost 10 lakh people are trying every year. So you have to give the best that you have. And once, if again, there is an entry strategy, and then there has to be exit strategy. If 1 year a person is unable to qualify or unable to crack the exam, he should start working from the second year. And while working, once the whole of the syllabus is you have mastered or you have studied the syllabus as a whole, then it's all about brushing up with the current affairs. So when basic preparation is being done, that time we require full-time or a substantial time. But even then, there are examples, people have qualified with the tiring corporate jobs also. Because then how you sneak time? Everybody will have 24 hours. If one is giving 8 hours in the office and then utilizing those 16 hours properly and studying, and one who has full 24 hours and does not study even for 4 hours a day, then both of them cannot be compared. It depends on the sincerity, it depends on the perseverance and the craving कि मुझे इसमें जाना है. How much you crave, how much you strive hard. After an 8-hour or 10-hour job, you can come and sit for 5-6 hours. And with this pandemic, one thing has become that the coachings and everything has become very decentralized. Now it's available on video lectures are available. So one did not come to Delhi always and sit in the corners of Rajendra Nagar and get coaching there. One can have coaching material at their doorstep also. So it is very much possible while working, provided you are able to give the proper dedication and time for it.
Right. No, thanks, Saurabh. Saurabh, another question for you, Saurabh Deshmukh. Nikhil Jain from Kolkata. So, like, if one is a chartered accountant, then generally it is assumed as far as commerce subject is concerned, they know it. But do you think any extra focus, at least in this paper of commerce, is required even for chartered accountants?
Yes, definitely. One एक हिंदी में कहावत है ना, अति परिचयत अवाज्ञा, मतलब जिससे आप बहुत परिचित होते हो उसकी बार बार अपमान करते हो. What happens is, अगर commerce syllabus once if one looks into it, it's a IPCC level syllabus. Okay. The optional syllabuses are always a master, one step below master and one step above graduate. It's an honors level syllabus. So one tends to feel कि यार ये तो आसान है and I don't require anything. And in my first attempt, frankly, it happened with me also because I was a very good, having good marks at the CA exam, and everything was on fingertips. I was a freshly qualified chartered accountant. So ये तो सब आ रहा है. You trying to skip that, and you tend to focus on something which you don't know. So one requires to keep knowledge brushed up. First thing. Second thing, commerce is having two papers. One is Commerce 1, which is very, very much aligned with the CA exam paper. Second is Commerce Paper 2, which is more in the nature of management. It has organization theory, organization behavior, industrial relations, and human resource management, wherein these are very theoretical subjects having a practical orientation. So one should focus on commerce, and believe me, if I am sitting in the civil services, I am because of commerce. I got very exemplary good marks. Second attempt, I changed my strategy. मैंने बोला जो आता है उससे पहले marks fetch करो. Marks come from anywhere. Marks are marks. Okay. Giving 8 hours to commerce will give you more marks than giving 8 hours to a public administration or a history subject. So my focus was जो पहले आता है उसके ऊपर ज्यादा फोकस करो. And believe me, कॉमर्स का अगर आप रेट देखोगे, सक्सेस रेट in all others when compared to other services, other optionals, commerce has one of the best success ratios, which is around 14%. मतलब somebody who writes an exam with commerce has a better chance of success in the exam rather than any other, because average rate is around 6%. So it's almost twice for any other option. So commerce is always a better option, provided you master it very well. You keep in touch.
And this is really great. Question to both of you. Let me start with Saurabh Bansal. Recently, under the leadership of our president, we are reviewing the scheme of the syllabus, training, examination. Do you have any suggestion from the public service perspective? Number one, from a public service perspective, and maybe in general also, which will help our members to become public servant. So Saurabh Bansal, maybe you have a first shot at it, and then I'll request Saurabh Deshmukh.
Sir, whatever I have done, whatever I have gone through my during my times, so personally I feel that has been sufficient for me, and I do not see any major change. And I see AI has been at the forefront of everything. Whatever changes are coming in the market, and I see AI is introducing them in the syllabus. One thing that I have felt always is that that campus feel is missing whenever we prepare for the civil services, and sometimes personality development becomes an issue. So if we can somehow tackle that, although we are much more mature, in handling issues due to our exposure during the articleship, but still some personal development thing can be done. And second, since everything is becoming IT driven, so can we become first hand in some of the languages? I mean, we have to think about it whether that is required, because that is how it will be in time to come. That is
Wow.
my end.
Okay, great. Saurabh Deshmukh, your point of view.
The new syllabus of ICA is really good, but I like to add few more suggestions because a personal experience. One of the CA mentor or a tutor came to my office when I'm working with Minister of State for Finance, and he asked me कि कौन सा state आप देखते हो finance के लिए. So that was the level of, sorry to say, ki understanding of the public level of finance. He was a very good chartered accountant, but the level when it comes to the dealing with the public or with the government or with the, so I feel there should be more interactive with the public administration. And there can be a 20 marks public administration somewhere which is related to the public finance policy, public finance, how the public finance is taken care, like more into the macroeconomics and public financial management. Okay, that can be more taken up. The systems of government can be explained to the chartered accountant. It may not be in the formal, but we can have it in the, especially in the training sessions that we have after the completion of the chartered accountancy course and before taking the membership program, membership. And then another, I would like the articleship, we do it in the CA office, we do it in the industry. Why can't we add the articleship in the as done with the various public offices? Like, for example, various members of parliament, various members in the legislative assembly need lot of help in this public finance. Okay. Or various offices like DM or revenue management, revenue officer, like Indian Revenue Service officer, they also need lot of help or apprenticeship. If we can connect the young chartered accountants and they can get some articleship there, and which can be considered as their formal articleship also, that will give them a different exposure, different completely a different outlook towards the profession and life. So these are my two suggestions. That is, more of a public administration should be included, and then there can be articleship or apprenticeship with the various public officials, especially connecting them.
Yeah. So these are both are
part of the suggestions made by Saurabh ji, that I also come across a lot of chartered accountants who do not understand the working of the government, and even if they understand, their knowledge is limited to the taxation part. And there are various opportunities for chartered accountant in various departments, and you'll never get to know about that when you don't understand how the government functions. So one has to understand how the government functions, and if we can impart that knowledge to our chartered accountants, that would be good, because anyhow in their life they'll have to get that knowledge. Without that knowledge they cannot go ahead. So maybe 5 साल के बाद खुद से सीखेंगे, 10 साल के बाद खुद से सीखेंगे. It is better that we impart that knowledge in an organized manner.
Right. No, these are valid points, and let me respond to one of the points made.
Many of the member of parliaments have been asking me कि कोई हमें CA दे दो या कोई maybe some semi-qualified chartered accountant दे दो कि हमें जो parliament में हो रहा है वो समझाए. But first we need to have this macroeconomics also in place with the public financial management also in place in this CA syllabus thoda sa.
Right. So sort of 2 points onto this. One is, as far as the articleship is concerned, we have already allowed in public offices. Now we have allowed with, say, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, ROC, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, etc. So very recently we have allowed that articleship or the industrial training can be with with these organizations.
That's really good.
So secondly, when you say if the parliamentarians wants to understand anything, so as an institute, we are always available.
Yes.
And but yes, as far as public finances is concerned, I agree. I mean, understanding public finances, and particularly when the government is on the single entry system or on the cash basis of accounting, that requires a different skill set. And understanding public finances, taking a macroeconomic view, is very, very important because because that is the larger picture for the country.
I have been also the sorry to interrupt. I have been also the part of the public finance, the course that has been was started by the institute. I was the when I was in telecom, I used to take some lectures also. But उसमें भी एक part we should impart how the government system works. How does what are the duties of every person in the government? That we need to clearly define and understand.
So we can do that, Saurabh, because that was my first year in the council when we started this course.
That's a wonderful course.
Yeah, Dheeraj Khandelwal was the chairman and I was the vice chairman. So when we have started that course, so I'm happy that you like this course. To both these Saurabhs, members are asking even that what is the structure of the civil service exam these days? Prelims, mains, how many subject, how many marks, interview. So, and both of you are qualified in 2011. So I can't even pick and choose that who is the who will be the newest or the youngest to answer. So any of you can pick up and answer, and the second person can supplement if anything is left out.
Better off in answering this.
Sure. Yeah, Saurabh.
But okay, it's long back. We qualified 2014, almost 8 years. I qualified civil service, but generally civil services consist of 3 stages. One is pre, mains, and interview. Prelim is a multiple choice question type exam, wherein it's more like an elimination round. Okay, जैसे हम लोग KBC में fastest finger होता है, the one who gets the maximum marks, it's an elimination round. So majority of the eliminations happen here only. So pre is a 400 marks question paper, wherein there are 2 papers. One is a general studies and another is a civil service aptitude test. Recently, civil service aptitude test was made only qualifying one. So now the marks are counted only out of 200, and the ranking or a merit list is decided on that basis, and then only the people who qualify above the cutoff marks are allowed to appear for the mains examination. Mains is a slightly lengthy and a very good exam, one of the toughest exam that one face, because it's the syllabus for the mains is more to be very comprehensive about the syllabus is anything and everything about below the sun. Okay, so it has history, it has geography, it has sociology, it has polity, everything. So let me go step by step. The first paper in the mains is the essay. There are 2 essays to be written, around 1,500 words per essay, and the essay paper is of 250 marks, which is 125 and 125 marks 2 essays. And essays are also not very, the wordings are very cryptic wordings. One can take it in whatever way they want, and they have to write around 1,500 words each on a particular essay. So one single line, and they have to write 1,500 words on it. So that is the first paper. Second is an English and Indian language paper, where these are more of a qualifying papers. They have to qualify a certain number of marks. Then comes the general studies. There are 4 general studies paper. First one is GS1, which has history, geography, and sociology in it. Part of history is also divided into Indian history and world history. Again, prehistory, medieval times history, and modern history. Geography also has world geography, Indian geography, political geography, physical geography, sociology, the Indian society, Western society, previous and then GS2 comes up with the lot of polity in the Indian polity and governance. Then it also has some part of international affairs also, international relations. Then third is having the economy, ecology, environment, agriculture, the basic understanding of socio-economic conditions of the nation. The fourth one is the ethics paper, where ethics and ethics of the person, it is a case study based paper, as well as it is a theoretical paper, with the concepts of the ethics, morals, and values are being tested, and their implementation in various real time cases is also being tested. Then it comes the optional. There is one optional. Previously, there were two optionals. Now there is only one optional, which is of 500 marks. Optional is divided into two papers. One is paper 1 and paper 2. For example, our commerce optional is the paper 1 is completely the practical, the theory option, theory in the sense, the understanding of the concepts option, whereas the paper 1 has the entire syllabus of almost IPCC. Accounts, costing, income tax, law, GST. Then it has also financial management. All these, the entire IPCC syllabus, it's in the paper 1 for the commerce. And commerce paper 2, again, it has this is organization theory, organization behavior. Then it has human resource management and industrial relations, which is the application of what we learned in the paper 1 in the public life. That is the paper 2 of the commerce. And this scheme is around 1750 marks. And then there is an interview. Those who qualify for this mains exam, there are around 3,000 people. They qualify this mains exam, and they are called up for the interview. The interview is a very life-changing experience, one can say. It asks you about your background. It asks you about your education. It asks you about your hobbies. It asks you about, it's a 40-45 minutes good interview. That's not a grilling, but a very good assessment of an individual overall. That's not only asking a question and getting a factual answer out of it. It's basically understanding the viewpoints of a particular candidate, whether he is fit to be into the government system or whether he is completely a radicalist and bus system ukhadne aaya hai. That sort of person, they are tested. Some people get very good marks. Some people get it's around 225 marks. I guess latest pattern, thoda sa I'm not very well with, but 225 marks. So total becomes 2025 marks. Okay, and 2025. The merit rank starts around, the first rank is around 1,000 marks, 1,000, 50, 1,000, 1,100, depending upon that year's latency in paper checking. So anybody who qualifies 50% is the rank holder, first rank holder in the civil services. So you never have to say ki mujhe itne number aayenge. So every single mark in mains and interview is counted. And the merit list is around 50-60 marks mein khatam ho jata hai merit list, the complete merit list. So every single mark, there would be 4 candidates, 5 candidates, and it's counted.
Wow. What an overview. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Saurabh Bansal, do the number of attempts affect the entry into the public service? Is the interviewer looking at how many attempts he has given?
No, with every attempt, their expectations increase. And if you're able to meet those expectations, then there is no issue.
No, when you say with every attempt, their expectation increase, means every attempt for that individual, or every year the expectations are increasing? So
both ways. So a person who is giving interview and if he is only 21 years old and there's another candidate who is 31 years old. So if both are, otherwise equally qualified, then there would definitely be a preference for 21 years
Oh, is
old
it?
candidate. Yes, yes. But, if you are a 31-year-old candidate and you are, somehow able to convince that you are more mature and, but you have not wasted your 10 years, you have, there'll not be specific questions about that. But in your answers, they'll be able to find that, but this 31-year-old guy, so he would be an asset to the government. If he comes and that because he brings with him 10 years of maturity with him. So if you are able to justify that in your answers, so definitely you'll get selected. But if everything is same, then they would definitely prefer someone younger.
And what is the name of the Facebook group which you mentioned? One of our members.
Indian Cost Account Service Exam Preparation.
Indian Cost Account Service Exam Preparation is the name of the Facebook group. One question to both of you. One member has asked this question that how easy or difficult it is to work in the government. Do you get sufficient leg room, headroom, elbow room to work, or you are just following the instructions? Let's start with Saurabh Bansal.
Government is such a system where we are far away from the saturation point, and you can always make your presence count, and you can always obviously ऐसा तो नहीं होगा that whatever you think would be accepted, and because it has to be within a framework. तो ऐसा तो नहीं होगा, बट ऐसा भी नहीं होगा कि आप कुछ अच्छा करना चाहें और आप ना कर पाए, ऐसा भी नहीं होगा. यू मे हैव टू डू इट इन अ स्लाइट डिफरेंट वे इफ यू हैव गॉट द विल. तो आप मैं खुद के कितने इंस्टेंसेस मतलब दे पाता हूँ कि व्हेन आई फर्स्ट एंटर्ड इनटू सर्विस, तो देयर वाज वेरी दिस ट्रिकी इशू ऑफ एनफोर्सिंग various provisions of the Companies Act, and not everyone wanted के एकदम से सरकार इतना कुछ enforce करे और penalize करे companies को, लोगों को. So I was like शुरू में I felt like अरे nobody want to do anything, कोई कुछ करना ही नहीं चाह रहा है. And then I had to strategically convince everyone, and pulls and pressures are also there, I would not say. But you can always, with your strategic thinking, you can always get good things done. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप नहीं कर पाएंगे. I think I can say for myself that I have been able to do a lot of good stuff in my limited tenure, and despite whatever hindrances there may be. So that is the beauty. If everything is so easy, then anyone can do it.
That's true. My experiences, first of all, we need to understand what this civil services is. Civil services is basically an executive body. Okay. The policy thing has to be the people's mandate. We are a democratic country. No officer can have his own mind while doing कि मेरे को ऐसे करना है तो इसलिए होना ही होना है. Okay. It is people's mandate that we are just executing. We are for the people, by the people, and of the people. So, हमारे ऊपर एक democratic elected government है who is formulating the policies, though with the help of bureaucrats only, but they are formulating and they are responsible. They make the policies, and it is the duty of the government servant to implement it in the best and the interest of the public. Okay. Anything is done by the government servant, whichever is it is in the best interest of the public is acceptable. Okay. So first and foremost, one cannot drive their personal agendas in government. They have to be public agendas. And in that, if somebody has an innovation, somebody has the thing that can be done in a most innovative manner, and provided this is acceptable to the political bosses, it is done. And whenever there is something misconduct, not always the political bosses are right. it is the duty of the public servant to bring it to the notice of the people, notice of the political boss. This is not right. Then seeing if one has to do something, how easy it is in the government. Yes, it is easy if we are doing it in the right, moral, ethical, and with the ideology of the government and the spirit of the constitution. If something other than that, if it is in the personal interest or if it is in the against the constitution, if it is against the ideology of the government, then it is not possible to do it, and it is illegal also to do it, immoral also to do it.
Great. Saurabh Deshmukh, एक question है. You said one should target more and more to score in commerce. So how much was your score, if you can disclose? That's the question asked by Suman.
याद भी नहीं आ रहा है, but I had 276 marks out of 500.
Oh,
Sorry, that was इतने attempt हो गए, but once I had 321 marks out of 500, and that was my best attempt.
wow. Now, which service is best? Considering, I mean, whether it is IAS, IRS, IPS, IFS, or any other service, any rating you think is possible? I don't know whether it's possible or not. Let's start with Saurabh Deshmukh first this time.
Best services which you like it. Okay. See, every service will have its own perks and cons. Nothing comes free of cost. There is glamour attached to certain services. There is no glamour attached to the certain services. But when there is glamour attached to a particular service, then there is no personal life attached to that person also. So, for example, a DM has a lot of glamour. And after a point of time, he cannot stand in the square with his friends having a chit chat. He always have to be in his own way, because he's publicly noticed always and everywhere. So everything will come with a pro and a con. So one needs to understand what a particular person's personality is. If a particular person is an introvert person and he does not like to interact with the people much, but he is a very technocrat, he has a lot of ideas which can be implemented later on, I don't think then he can be a good DM, because DM has to understand lot of public. They will be coming from all strata of society. Bilkul, they will come from the ground 0 to ground 100. Any strata of society, he has to meet them. He has to be available at the public. People will keep you calling at night 11 for small problems. Okay. Then they have to understand, if one wants a very peaceful life, a good life, then civil central services are also good. They will not have that much of glamour attached, but then you will have a work-life balance also. Right now, I am working as a private secretary to Abbas Finance, which is like a public office. So people think this is my last solution. Okay. And they will keep on calling you at 11 o'clock also in the night. Ki ye ho gaya, there is some problem in my area. You please call up the concerned SP. Yeah, this has happened to me. You please contact, get me the help. They will not see this is within your jurisdiction or whether not in your jurisdiction. People see minister's office as the public servant's office, and that is why we are there for, to help them at the hour of their need, and they see it as the last resort, not as the first resort. So they have tried everything. We have to try it in a different way. Okay. Then service-wise, it matters only for certain years of age into the service. There are various deputation opportunities where all services are treated equal. Okay. For example, this, like, I am on deputation to the Honorable Minister's Office. So this is open for all. For example, previously I was a financial advisor to the Ministry of Home Affairs. That was also on a deputation, which is open for all. All service compete equivalently, and the person gets into the office. So rather than many of the non-IAS our non-IPS self, I did not become an IS or I could not become an IPS. It's like God's gift. You came into 800 at least. There are thousands who have left behind, who could not even qualify. So you are in the top 1%, 0.1%. And then there is ample of opportunities at director level, joint secretary level in the government of India, wherein every service is treated equally at par and given the equal advantage or a disadvantage. And when one works properly, the work is becomes their identity rather than any service.
No, that's great. Saurabh Deshmukh, question to you again. Any idea what is the number of chartered accountant who are in the various civil services as of now?
That
Any
Mr.
idea?
Mr. Babu would be able to, and
No,
you
we
would
have
be
the
able to,
data.
because you have the data.
No, I'm also the vice chairman. We have the data, but the data completeness. I mean, if we want to complete the data,
I guess less than 1,000.
I think.
so we have a data of around 400 people.
Less than 1,000.
Yes.
I-
So means still there's a long way to go. So
Yes.
if any of you can help us compile more and more data, that would be
Definitely. UPSC website hosts the sorry, not UPSC. DOPT hosts the till date it used to host. Couple of years after this privacy issues came up, they have stopped hosting the education qualification, the address, the state-wise data of the people who have qualified the civil services. But let us try. We can definitely compile more.
If there is any source, then do let us know.
Yes.
Saurabh Bansal, it's almost the time. Last 10 minutes or so. Any life-changing experience, whether as a chartered accountant or as a civil servant, you would like to share?
So there have been various such experiences in this service. I'm thankful to this service that it got me into such a position. So one fine day, sir, when I was with SFIO, so I received a call from a person. He was like that, I've invested. He was a poor man. He had invested some 4,000 or 5,000 in a particular company, and I have been receiving number of thousands of complaints from such investors that we have invested in so and so company, and we are not getting our money back. And that person was in such destitute position I cannot explain. So I was consoling him. I was telling him that okay, we'll look into it, this and that. And on the same day, I had to meet the finance minister and I had to explain some other case. So I was thinking that देखो ना, बिल्कुल जीरो से लेके और बिल्कुल ऊपर तक का सारा एक्सपोजर हमको एक ही दिन में मिल रहा है. We are into policy making also. We are into enforcement also. We were, somehow arresting someone also. At the other hand, various coercive action which the government can take, वो भी हम साथ साथ कर रहे हैं. तो ये उस दिन मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगा. And I have been able to, being in SFIO, I have interrogated a number of high positioned individuals, various CMD of public sector banks and various high ranking past officials, and so that was also, and I have also interrogated various what you will call promoters of very big groups. So that kind of exposure also has given me a lot of insight into various things, or that was really good. And
Great.
at the same time, with the Tino part, there are three parts, right? Legislative is there, executive is there, and then judicial is there. So NPPA is there. So NPPA is kind of quasi-judicial authority. So हम यहाँ पर भी काम कर रहे हैं. And then in the legislative part, we are into rule framing. So we make various subordinate legislation, and then executive is also there. सो तीनों हमको देखने को मिलती है और इतने शॉर्ट टेन्योर में. एंड when I was in Ministry of Corporate Affairs, so there was some complaint of financial irregularity in this government think tank IICA. एंड देन इमीडिएटली उनको दिखा रहे यार यहाँ सीए कौन है, इनको भाई वहां एज अ सीएफओ बना के भेजो एंड ही विल सेट एवरीथिंग राइट. And I met all their expectations, and they were like, "अरे अब आप बताओ आपको कहाँ जाना है." तो that is how it happens.
Wow. Saurabh, आपसे एक follow-up question और because आप NPP में भी हैं, you tell me there is always a dilemma. There is a strong desire to control the drug prices, but at the same time, there need to be a reward for innovation in drugs. Because if there isn't a suitable reward for the drug innovation, obviously new medicines won't be invented. So as a regulator, how do you balance the two?
So under the Essential Commodities Act, there is this Drug Price Control Order 2013. And that the legal framework has been made in such a manner that only 15% of the total number of drugs, for only 15% of the drugs, NPPA fix the prices, the ceiling prices. तो बाकी लोगों को उसके नीचे ड्रग्स को बेचना है. एंड फॉर द रिमेनिंग 85% द मार्केट इज ओपन. आप अपने ड्रग्स को किसी भी प्राइस पर बेच सकते हैं. And those 15% has been considered as essential, as in essential. So obviously all medicines are essential, otherwise why would one have it? But still they are considered, essential of the essential. So एक list है, there is a 15% and drugs are in that list. And जो बाकी बच गए 85%, उसके ऊपर भी there is a control that you cannot increase the price by 10% per annum. But obviously if there's a new innovation, so you can fix the price of your drugs at any price, and there's no issue. And if there's a patent, there's an exemption for some number of years, 5 years. There's an exemption is also there. So if there's some patent, so that is how the government is balancing, trading off between reward for the industry and making medicines available at reasonable price to everyone.
Great. Saurabh Deshmukh, any experience that you would like to share, just like Saurabh Bansal has shared?
Every day is a new day in the office, and every experience is a learning experience and a wonderful experience, especially when you work in the minister's office and you are exposed to all sort of people from the lowest rungs to the multi-billionaires, industrialists coming to the office. So all sort of experiences. One single experience, if you like to talk, was one during the COVID that we had. During the COVID lockdown, the entire country was under the lockdown, and our Honorable Secretary had the responsibility for making the food available to all the states. So we were in his team to check whether it was during the lockdown, the strictest lockdown, the first lockdown, wherein we used to go to the office and then check out whether every state has got a food, sufficient supply of food, which is the nearest FCI center for giving them the food supply. So this was wherein you could interact with the lowest of the lowest person who was depending on the government for his basic necessity, and we could play a vital and independent important role in fulfilling those needs. Was one of the most memorable experience in my during civil service career.
Great. Since the chairman Babubhai is also there, Babubhai, any concluding thoughts from your side? And at the same time, I would like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude on behalf of 900 plus members and my own behalf who were attending this program. Thank you so much for giving time and answering all possible questions. In fact, we've been able to take almost all the questions. So, Babu bhai, any concluding thoughts from your side?
Yeah, I think we had a wonderful session. I'm extremely happy and impressed that around 1,000 members from various parts of the country has joined for this program. Actually, our objective was to create awareness and to even some kind of interest in civil service among our membership. I think we have been largely successful in our attempt towards that. And I should thank both Sauravs for their wonderful sessions and brilliantly answering all the questions. I think you have explained all those questions in quite detail. I think I should also thank both of you and the President and the Vice President for joining us, and also the members who have joined across the country for this program. This will I think we'll continue in our mission and to ensure that we may not be able to match the engineers in the service, but at least we should be able to make a mark of our presence, our profession's presence in the
We should
in
in
service.
this Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, we should be able to make 75 chartered accountants in the public service.
Yeah, I think
This
that
is-
is a very, very, very desirable and achievable target.
So we all are with you, Babu bhai.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you decide, however you guide, we all join you.
Yeah, you are the strong members in public service are the strong pillars of the institute. In fact, we always bank upon your wisdom and knowledge in steering the institute in the right path.
Yes, all of us will be there for any kind of help in this mission to make 75 chartered accountants in public service. We are always there.
Yeah, I think we will set this target and probably let us hope that we should be able to fulfill this desire.
Thank you
Yes,
very
bye.
much for inviting us. It was a memorable session. It's always nice to guide young brothers and sisters of the profession to be a part where we are here. And then when we meet them and they say, "Ki sir, aapki suna tha, aapko suna tha," it was very nice. So you feel like a celebrity. That's a real celebrity status that one gets to recognize. That's so nice. Thank you, Sanjeev Singhal sir. And
Thank you so
also
much.
a great thanks to Anita Suneja, madam. She has been very kind and hosting and answering to all our queries and giving explanations and coordinating the program. Thank you so much. And my dear colleague, thank you so much, Saurabh Bansal.
I would also like to thank Sanjeev Singhal sir, who has moderated the event in a wonderful manner, and Babu sir for his promptness that he could organize such a wonderful event and could gather 1,000 chartered accountants at such a short notice. And I'm really thankful.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. Anitaji, I think it went on well.
As Epitome's 4 stop live now.